You don't have to pay for the seller's attorney, but you have to pay for the title insurance. But you're getting the title insurance, right? You have to pay for the bank's attorney because the bank's loaning you the money, right? So you just paid for 3 attorneys in New York, so you might want to move to Connecticut.
Why do they do that? To avoid conflict of interest?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is exactly why they do that, because they're saying, think about that. In Connecticut, I represent the bank, I represent the title insurance company, and I represent the buyer. But the bank and the buyer's interests are different, right? Technically, at least where I come from, they say you can't serve 2 masters, right? But technically, the bank's interest is different than the consumer or the buyer's interest, right? Really. That's the problem now, right? When the bank goes to foreclose, you're not on the same team anymore. You got different interests. Same thing with the title insurance company. They're charging you insurance. They have a different interest in you. So in New York, maybe they got it the right way. I don't know. But then let's go to Florida. In Florida, in a lot of places, they don't use an attorney at all. How about that? You look disappointed.
What do they use then?
A title company. So they skip the attorneys all-together. They get what you call a closing agent from a title company. And interestingly enough, that company represents both sides of the transaction. Now, I bought property in Alabama, South Carolina, attorney on each side, just like Connecticut. And Alabama, 1 attorney representing both sides. Conflict of interest, right? Because if there's ever a dispute, right, both got to get new attorneys, right?
A multiple personality disorder attorney.
Say what?
Multiple personality disorder attorney.
But it got to be
Yeah.
equally, whatever it is, because you got to be able to represent on this side and then forget all about this side and then represent the other side, right? So it's got to have multiple, what do you call it?
Personality disorder?
That.
Yeah.
It has to be equal. It can't be, group. So it's different in each state, right? Everywhere you go, it's a little bit different. But how do you go about finding an attorney in the first place? If you happen to be in a state that has attorneys, that uses attorneys for closings. Google?
Word of mouth, referral.
That's how I know I'm getting old. That's how I know. Right? That's how we know we're getting old. I said, how do you find an attorney? She said, Google. I'm surprised you didn't say Facebook or something like that, or Twitter or something to that effect.
Would be a referral?
Yeah, referrals, right? Your friend calls on the house, whatever, right? How else would you find an attorney? Family friend, right? Somebody you used before, the guy that got you out of that jam you got in, almost went to jail.
Is there attorneyratings.com or something like that? Or like they have?
There is an attorneysrating.com. That's
there is.
weird.
Okay.
You're scaring me. But there is such a thing, right? Your name, sir?
I'm Matt.
Matt? Yep. Oh, we already have a Matt. Thanks for coming. So we got 2 Matts. So we got Google, we got attorneyratings.com, right? Referral. You want to add anything, Matt?
Yellow Pages.
Yellow Pages.
Yellow Pages?
They want to talk about him like he's a caveman, right? Yellow Pages. Matt, I agree with you. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. I was with their school years ago. I may have spent like $50,000 putting my ad in the Yellow Pages, and I just wanted to kill myself afterwards because I didn't feel like anything came from it. So I stopped. But over the last year alone, the majority of the calls that I received when I asked, where did you get my name? They say the Yellow Pages. Surprisingly enough. Because even if you go to Google, the Yellow Pages comes up. And that's where they find my name. You go to Google, Google sends you somewhere, and where it ends up sending you a lot of times, when you're looking for somebody's name, a business name, and information, it sends you to the Yellow Pages. And so that's what they say. They got it from the Yellow Pages, which surprises me, especially after I spent all that money. I guess I should get some of it back. But that's one way, right? Yellow pages, Google. My way to Yellow pages, right? Referrals. Any ideas, Matt?
I was just thinking maybe something with the government, like some kind of a body that gives licenses to attorneys.
Now, see, that's the first time, as many first-time home buyer seminars that I've done since 2001. That's the first time I've ever heard anyone say that, and it's absolutely the truth. That you could call the Bar Association of the place you are and ask for a referral.
Do they do that? Are they allowed
Absolutely.
to?
Oh, absolutely.
Huh. So there's no conflict of interest for,
How do they know which one to tell you?
They give you a list.
okay.
How do they know which one's the best one?
Great question. How would you know which one's the best?
Would they tell me like, how do they?
Rate them? Like
Yeah.
this guy's talking about here, Dan? No, they wouldn't do that. Because they'd get themselves in trouble because it's a conflict, like you're suggesting, right? But there is a way to figure out which one's the best. How would you do it, Matt?
AttorneyRatings.com.
You're biting off of Dan. Do they say biting anymore? No, they still do? So I'm still cool for a minute? How would you figure it out? Other than using AttorneyRatings.com. Because AttorneyRatings.com, think about this. Think about Facebook, think about Twitter, think about all these different things you guys deal with today. How do you think they go about rating attorneys on AttorneyRatings.com?
Maybe by experience.
You think? You think the people that put that thing together went and experienced all these attorneys?
No,
came up with a
like,
rating?
who's been an attorney for the longest or served the most?
Maybe that's a part of it, maybe, right? They do it by people that maybe type in, right, to give a comment. Like somebody's angry with me, right? I don't like him. My rating goes down, right? Right? That's how it works. But I'm going to tell you guys a secret. You may not believe this. In Connecticut, there's this newspaper. I can't remember what the name of the newspaper is. But I was placed in the top attorneys of Fairfield County, Connecticut.
How?
I paid for it. You see what I mean? You're laughing at that. That's the truth. I paid for it, right? They called me up. We heard about you. You're a real estate attorney, and so and so. We got this paper going out on this particular date, and we got a space for a real estate attorney. It's going to cost you X amount of dollars to get that slot, and I get to be placed in this paper that's going to be mailed to however many people, right? I'm going to be one of the top attorneys in Fairfield County. How about that? You still trust AttorneyRatings.com? Dan?
Well, it depends on if they're user generated or,
Oh.
but then you go to users.
Oh. Okay, Dan, so that's something to think about, isn't it?
Wait a minute. Couldn't you, say when you bought the slot table, couldn't you go on attorneyratings.com and say, I love this attorney, he's amazing. With like 50 different users.
Crazy. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, so how would you do it, man?
That's what I'm like.
Pick the best one. That's your mom, yeah. The best one for you. How about that? I'll make it even easier.
Call them up and talk to them.
There you go. Rocket science. Interview them, right? That's how you get interviewed, right? When somebody wants to know whether or not you're the right person for the job, what do they do? They call you in, you sit down, they ask you a bunch of questions, you answer the questions, they determine whether they want to hire Deirdre, Matt, you know, or Dan, right? By interview process. That's what you do. I know Deirdre sounds like a lot of work. But it's important. It's important stuff. Because that's how you're going to figure out the price as well, right? You're going to call around and ask for prices. Now, I'm going to tell you something that you might need to think about. When you call an attorney to determine who's the best attorney for